Welcome to this edition of Desert Vision. I'm Sergeant Rick Bush.
And I'm Staff Sergeant Jaime Hernandez.
Coming up on this edition, we get a first-hand look at soldiers competing for excellence, and Specialist Brittany Lobos takes us to an observance held at Camp Arifjan, Kuwait.
To be an expert at your job, it can take years to accomplish. Army Staff Sergeant John Portella shows us a few soldiers trying to do this in 2 weeks.
The Expert Field Medical Badge, or EFMB, is a special skill award for recognition of exceptional competence and outstanding performance by field medical personnel. The medical professionals of the 2nd Armored Brigade Combat Team, 1st Infantry Division, are out proving themselves to be the best in their field in this year's round of testing.
My company did do a lot of train up for this, and doing the ruck march training with them was invaluable. The ruck march was definitely, I'd probably say, one of the biggest challenges of the EFMB, so I was glad that my company had done a good job of training us up for that.
The current EFMB implements battlefield scenario and combat lane concepts, pyrotechnics, smoke, opposing force activity, anatomic simulators, and casualty simulators, which are used extensively to enhance conditions for realism.
There's not very many soldiers in the AMED that work in the hospital that have it, so it's just a true honor to be one of those few 10% that have it. If you can just study your heart out, it's only 2 weeks of your life, and just try as hard as you can. It's a blessing, and it's great to have.
Soldiers who completed the testing and passed were awarded with the EFMB in a ceremony shortly after their final task. Reporting from Camp Arifjan, Kuwait, I'm Staff Sergeant John Portella.
126 soldiers showed up for this grueling event, but only 34 successfully earned the Expert Field Medical Badge. I wonder if the competitors gave themselves quarters after the competition was over.
You know, I wouldn't doubt it, and that would probably be a good thing if they did.
Yeah, I know I definitely would.
Each year, the President of the United States declares February as African American History Month. Specialist Brittany Lobos takes us to Camp Arifjan, where service members reflect on achievements of historical figures in the African American community.
The 1st Theater Sustainment Command put on a ceremony to pay tribute to generations of African Americans who have struggled to achieve full citizenship in American society.
In the military, we're a microcosm of our society, so we want to accept all differences and understand that it's the diversity that makes us stronger.
This program emphasized that the military leads the way in breaking down the walls of segregation and walked through historic moments that led to where we are now.
I feel it's very important because it kind of shows our heritage and it raises awareness, not so much for people to be prideful, but it just brings us all closer because we're aware of where we come from and why we all may do certain things and believe the way that we do believe.
By focusing on these events, we acknowledge the achievements and struggles of those who have paved the way for us to be where we are.
And what we all, not just African Americans, but what we all have to live up to ensure that our nation remains great and that the young men and women that come behind us have opportunities that we all have had.
Reporting from Camp Arifjan, Kuwait, I'm Specialist Brittany Lobos.
After the program, service members inquired about static displays giving more information about the involvement in African Americans throughout history. We've got more stories coming up right after this. U.S. Forces Command Commanding General Robert Abrams spoke with U.S. Army Central soldiers and leaders about their challenges and accomplishments while deployed. General Abrams expressed his gratitude for their service and recognized several soldiers during his visit. A special skills badge identifies a soldier's expertise in his or her field. Army Staff Sergeant John Portella introduces us to an unexpected recipient of one of these badges.
Soldiers of the 2nd Armored Brigade Combat Team, 1st Infantry Division, spent weeks training for the EIB event held at Camp Arifjan, Kuwait. The EIB, also known as the Expert Infantry Badge, is the covenant badge of the infantryman and is presented for completion of a course of testing designed to demonstrate proficiency in infantry skills. 343 soldiers began the testing phase, but only 77 made it to the end. For many soldiers, this was their 2nd or 3rd attempt. For one soldier, this was his first.
Training was very long and tedious, as well as testing. It was very stressful once it came time for testing. The cadre were very helpful with answering questions, and I felt that it was done very well.
Testing is not easy. Nerves are the enemy and can make or break a soldier at even the simplest task.
Take one task at a time. Ensure that I focus and don't think about what's next. Think about what's currently in front of me.
Many skill-based events make up the entire EIB test for the infantry soldier. These events require knowledge, repetition, and concentration to be successful. The final test is the one that is most physically and mentally challenging. It's the dreaded 12-mile road march.
When it comes down to it, the last few miles, I kept my mind blank, and usually that helps me take my mind off the pain. And Corporal Robinson was just motivating me the whole way.
Private Schmidt completed the testing on his first try and was the lowest ranking soldier to receive his EIB.
I don't feel any different. You know, I still have my ways to go. EIB by no means makes me an expert in my field craft. I have a lot to learn. So realistically, I still know very little.
Private Schmidt has less than a year in service and now holds a recognition that he can be proud of.
The lone PV2 Andon Schmidt.
Reporting from Camp Arifjan, Kuwait, I'm Staff Sergeant John Portella.
The EIB was created in October 1943 and is exclusively for infantrymen only. You know, if you could do it all over again, would you maybe change the job you picked coming in?
You know, I really love this job, but what those guys do is pretty awesome. It looks like they have a lot of fun doing it.
Yeah, and it's a lot of fun telling their story.
It definitely is. That's going to do it for this edition of Desert Vision. For these stories and more, check out our Facebook page at facebook.com/US Army Central.
And our YouTube channel at youtube.com/US Army Central.
I'm Sergeant Rick Bush.
And I'm Staff Sergeant Jaime Hernandez. Thanks for watching.